Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks and SUVs and motorcycles and the dogs. Okay, your little Scouty boy, he's not happy with Kiefer harassing him this morning. Oh my goodness, it's drizzling, it's humid, it's a little breezy. As always, hey, good morning to all those that subscribe and watch my channel on a daily basis. Thank you so much for participating as we walk across, as usual, the property, get the day going with my morning conversations, with the attitudes, with the discussions, with the arguments. This is what life's about. Is life all about an argument? If you grew up with my brother, you would understand that statement. My brother, he just wants to argue. I mean, I'm not lying to you. My brother, growing up with my brother, it's just like whatever you want to do, he doesn't want to do. That's just, where'd that come from? Where did the arguing come from with mankind? And the dogs here, it's like Scouty boy's like, hey, I don't want you touching me. Get away from me. Look at him. He's not happy. So, as always, it's the adventures on Ice Age TV. And it's a collection of too many vehicles, of the crazy things I do. Which, thanks so much for all those that are participating in the frustration video I posted yesterday. I've had a lot of my subscribers reach out and view their opinions, and I appreciate that. And I think it's good stuff. I really do. I think everybody has different views. Hey, stop it. Hey, Scouty, don't do that. Kiefer, you just chill out. You're not going upstairs because you're a troublemaker. Nope, 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 nope. No, you're not going up. Everybody else goes upstairs. Go on. Good puppies. You just have to chill out, Kiefer. He's all wound up this morning. Oh, my goodness gracious. So, anyways, yeah, I appreciate all those that have reached out, and they've given me ideas and views and thoughts, and which is good stuff. And I take it to the heart, but at the same time, I understand how people look at me, and that's why having a YouTube channel, do you become transparent of what you're doing, or do you hide a lot of stuff of what you're doing? And that's what I've been saying so much as I do this YouTubing on a daily basis in my life, and I dedicate a lot of my time, which I enjoy making the videos, and I enjoy sharing my craziness and antics of who I am and what I do. And it just befuddles me that others in the YouTube industry are much more successful than me, and it's interesting to hear others' perspectives of why they feel like my channel just doesn't get it. And that kind of really, in some way, aggravates me on how some look at my channel versus other channels. And once that's how I try and explain over and over again on my YouTube channel, is I see a guy walk around in Miami, Florida, that walks the neighborhoods, and he talks about all the houses for sale, and he predicts the future of what's going to happen in the housing market. And he walks by all the condos in Miami, and it's like Michael Bardot, I think is his name, and he's a real estate guy. And he walks around in the neighborhoods, and he constantly just belittles others for the failures of them buying the wrong house, buying the wrong condos. And it's a constant prediction of what tomorrow is going to be. And this guy gets 100,000 views on his channel within one day's time of just walking around and intriguing people to watch him walk around. I mean, he uses a phone here, and he talks he's a cool guy. I mean, I like the way he talks. And he just walks around, talks and talks and talks. And that's all you see. You see his face, and you see him walking around the neighborhood. And, I mean, sincerely, if I was this morning just to walk around my neighborhood and start looking at other people's cars and houses, and I started telling you, well, that guy's got a 2010 Toyota Tacoma. And that truck has a lot of problems. The engine's stuck in it. And the guy was an idiot to buy that thing. He bought it used, and he paid $40,000 for it during the pandemic. And now he's going to lose his ass because when he goes to try to sell it, it's going to be worth maybe 10. So he's going to lose his ass, and he's a stupid guy. But, you know, I tried to tell this guy. Hey, so would this really draw you to my channel if I started doing that? I mean, but this is what the other guys do that walk around with a stick in their hand, and they start talking about other people's woes, misfortunes, and what tomorrow is going to be. And you really, for me, when I turn this stuff on, it's like, it gets boring pretty quick, where guys just walk around. But these guys, Dan the Man, allegedly, he walks around there in that Southern California area, on the beach, the neighborhoods. And here's a good one for you. Hey, this is Dan. This is a good one for you. This is what I'm going to, and he starts telling you the future, what's going to happen. And that guy gets 30, 40, 50, 80, 100,000 views walking around and just talking about the general status of the day of what he feels like will intrigue you to watch him to enrich yourself. I mean, what comes from those videos? So for me, and once again, for anybody out there on my channel watches me, I appreciate your support. I appreciate you wanting to try to help me, but I'm just befuddled on how that content is better than my content, being that I get up in the morning and I share with you the vehicles I've purchased, or the cars, motorcycles, but then I talk about, well, I use a word and I try to relate that word to the vehicles of our lives, but then it turns into the state of times of what we're going through in our country and try to be diplomatic about it. But then I share with you the knowledge of electric batteries. I share with you knowledge of artificial intelligence. I share with you knowledge of minerals. I mean, I try to do research and share that information, but it's just blah. And I get it. These other guys have 10-minute, 15-minute videos, which that's not a big deal. If I heard somebody told me make a 10-minute video and my channel explodes, and that's what's going to make it. And that's the thing that happens. Others like, well, hey, if you went out and you actually used your vehicles for what they are and made videos in the backwoods, and I don't disagree. I mean, I think those type of videos are cool. If I took the Bison off-road and did an off-road venture in it and really showed its capabilities of what it can do, but there's other people out there who do that too. But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. That would be a decent video. But then you've created the YouTube channel where you have to kind of keep that going. So, and that's where you lose viewership and followers. If I take the Colorado out one time and I do the backwooding in it, but then I never do it again, then the people that watch my channel are always gonna be expecting to see something like that all over again. And that's the schedule. I have a schedule. I mean, sadly, for those that really don't really know who I am per se, I have to run a company. I have to run a piece of property. I have parents in Florida. I have an in-law in Tennessee. I have to go and take care of things more than you may realize. So when I'm going to start just disappearing and going on my adventures, my wife, it's not that easy. I mean, you see how my wife's not in my videos, and you just don't understand. I have a woman, my wife, that, yeah, I can have my fun here, but when I start telling her, I'm going away for the weekend, and I'm going to take the Talon, and I'm going to be gone for next week, and we're going to go out to Arizona and go do some fun stuff. First of all, I don't really have that capability to do that, but my wife's going to be like, well, wait a second, what's going on here? Where are you going? What are you doing? I mean, you just have no idea. You don't understand, and that's the thing. It gets way too personal. It gets down the rabbit hole of there's a lot more going on behind the scenes for me to be able to manage my marriage in my life, in my family, than me just constantly being able to disappear and go racing. Just like racing, yeah, I only wish that I had the time as I was growing up to go to the track. I worked 7 days a week. I worked 7 days a week from basically out of high school. I didn't have time. I was focused on a career. I was focused on wanting to make money. So I just didn't have and I didn't even have the money at that time to go race cars. And if you're tracking cars, you have to dedicate a lot of time to doing the same thing over and over again if you really want to be good at that. And that's the key, which I talk about all the time now, is true. On my channel, it's too all over the place. And I get all that. And is an argument? Yeah, and that's why I brought up this word argument this morning, because we need to argue. There's nothing wrong with arguing. If you have a strong relationship, you're going to argue and you're still going to be married. If you have a good friendship, you're going to argue, but you're still going to be friends. But for some reason, in today's society, the arguing is being shut down like never seen before. Just like on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you go, social media, if you want to argue with somebody about what they're doing, borderline, you get removed. Who doesn't know these stories? I've seen some of my subscribers, say they've made some comments, and instantly YouTube erases their content. So in some ways, you're not allowed to argue. And that's why I created the Ice Age TV. I mean, think about this. I created a channel called Internal Combustion Age. When I walk out the door every morning, I say some key words if you're actually listening. When I say those words, I'm sharing with you the craziness of all my cars and motorcycles and SUVs and what I do. That's my channel. And so some are reaching out and saying it kind of gets boring. Okay, well, I'm sure there's a lot of video out there, a lot of channels out there that have a lot of boring content. But that's okay, because I know in some days I have better content than other days. And so for me, arguing amongst ourselves, it's fine. That's how we try to resolve things, is arguing. But no, and we live in a society today where the governing body of this country is telling you you can't argue with them. I mean, it's very bad. It really is, because you can see, I talk about it all the time, the EVH, the push of the green agenda, the push of ideology. The list goes on and on and on and on. And if you kind of get riled up on that stuff, especially on my YouTube channel, I've already had one major strike against my channel because I had an argument basically of how things were handled some years back. And that video was banned. And I got a stern warning. That's my first strike. I get a second strike, I will be banned for 30 days. And if I get a third strike, my whole YouTube channel is removed. It's done. So, can you argue with that? I tried to argue about that video I made. It didn't go anywhere. It was instantly rejected because I stated views and ideas that I thought made a lot of sense. But that's a challenge today. You want to create content that makes sense, and in so many ways, you're shamed. And that's what I say. It's awful fishy to me that all these other YouTubers I talk about just something doesn't seem right to me. That you can just get up in the morning and I can just sit here and talk about this car, this Camaro, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I get 100,000 views within an hour to 2 hours time frame. How does that work? I mean, sincerely, I'm asking my subscribers out there, do you really believe that these YouTubers that are out there doing their content, that would you really be intrigued to really watch would you really be intrigued? I'm sitting here trying to get my phone to bring up, here he is. So here's Michael, here he is, Michael Bordino. He's had 106,000 views in 14 hours talking about how there's a fire sale in Florida over condos. I mean, really? The guy walks around the neighborhood. I mean, sincerely. I mean, I guess I need to start doing that. I mean, I guess I really need to just start walking around neighborhoods. There's another one down here. It's all, it's all these things. I just get intrigued. John Williams, this guy predicts the gloom and doom every day, all day long. That's all he ever does. 51,000 views. And I know people are saying people love misery. Doomsday forecast. Didn't get many views on that. But why wouldn't this girl get 100,000 views? Look at that. So her channel, it sucks. Let's see here, right? I mean, that's the implications. The RVs got laid off. You'll own nothing. Here's this guy right here. This guy has a used car, owns his own used car lot. He got 94,000 views because Hertz is crashing the market. So Hertz Rental Cars is controlling the used car market. So is this something to intrigue you to watch this guy for 23 minutes about him telling you that the Hertz fiasco of buying Tesla cars is going to ruin? He's telling you the future. This is another profit. And that's what we see. It seems like the profits are the guys and gals that make all the money. No rate cuts in 2024. 34,000 views. Dan didn't do that good that day. But you can just see that on TV. So once again, I just like to go through. Okay, here's this guy here. Get ready for car prices to drop by 50%. 11-minute video, 139,000 views. So do you believe that car prices, that you're going to be able, I mean, sincerely, do you really believe you're going to go to a car dealership? So you're saying to me right now, with this guy here is implying that you're going to go to the car dealership. I'm going to go to Kuhn's Baltimore Ford, and that $150,000 Raptor R they want should be 75 grand, or it's 111. It should be 60. I'm going to go to the Chevy dealership, and I'm going to get a ZRT Bison 1500 Chevy, and it's going to be half the price. I mean, but this is so. Doesn't it seem? I mean, I'm not the smartest of the bunch. One guy you made a comment on there, which I'm not here attacking anybody on my channel that's making comments. I enjoy the content. I enjoy the interaction. I like to hear the different perspectives. But at the same time, you just have to step back and say to yourself, how are these other YouTubers getting all these hits off of you? Are you really intrigued? So this morning, should I have made a video? I mean, sincerely, video this morning with a thumbnail with me next to my Bison here and me showing 50% less price for these Chevy Colorados. 50% off. That's what's going to happen. Would that get 100,000 views? I don't think it would. I don't get it. I obviously don't. And here's the thing. That's why I bring up the conversation this morning is it's an argument. It's an argument of what somebody thinks works versus what somebody thinks doesn't work. And that's life. I mean, that's just who we are. It's just mankind. And on my YouTube channel, I've always been told many subscribers, many times, my channel would, I was never excited about making a YouTube channel because I didn't want to come across as this arrogant son of a bitch that just has anything he wants and I'm so special and you're not. No, I mean, that really is not what I'm trying to accomplish here. What I'm trying to accomplish here is have a lot of fun in my antics of me constantly trading out cars and trucks and motorcycles, but how much longer does it last? I mean, I'm 61 years old. I mean, and it's not. Eventually there's going to come a point where it's over. And so then in so many ways, is my channel over? It could be. I mean, I guess. I mean, if it's all riding off of me having to go buy another car or buy another motorcycle to bring in subscribers. But the thing is, you can see by 4 years later, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you think you can start a YouTube channel and go buy something, and that's going to create all these people wanting to follow you, it doesn't really work. I mean, by the mass, sure, you're going to have a percentage. Here's the Honda CBR 1000RR. You know, what's this all about? It's all about the kid. My daughter's been begging for a crotch rocket bike now for the last few years. So for me, yeah, what do? I go out and buy a freaking crotch rocket bike. Yeah, some people are probably, your daughter's going to kill herself on it. Well, my daughter's riding some big-ass, powerful motorcycles, and she has had some really bad experiences of being on motorcycles that could be, you know, literally life-changing. So I'm just hoping that she knows how to handle this, and I'll be with her riding. So, but yeah, I don't disagree. That's a lot of bike, but she's been riding motorcycles since she was a kid. So I can only hope that she knows how to handle that. I think she does. I wouldn't have bought it if I didn't think so, just like the Mustang here. You know, I bought her this car, and she understands it's down there, the GT, and she understands the responsibility that goes with that. And trust me, she's had some hard lessons already on that. I'm not even getting into that conversation. So yeah, it's challenging. The Talon, pretty cool. The my good friend Jack, who has sold it to me, he's now sold 5 Hondas to me in the last month. He says I get this sticker, and it's supposed to go on the side of the door here. So I guess they want to get rid of the all-wheel drive thing. So I guess it goes on the other side over there, that they want to have this show off the turbo racing. You know, and that's a whole other ball game. If you get sponsors, yeah, there you go. Isn't that pretty cool? Yeah, so should I do that? That'd be nice. I think I should. Yes, I mean, do I get sponsors? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I could do on my channel that hopefully would grow it and make me more money. And that's all you heard from me yesterday is the frustration is just that. It's the frustration of me, you know, in my eyes, going out of my way to bring content and video. And then at the end of the day, what do I get? And then, yeah, and a lot of people call me out because I spent all my money foolishly. And it's been going on my whole life, though. And as I say all the time, you wouldn't know me. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel if it wasn't for who I am and what I've been doing my whole life of buying cars. Way before I started this channel, I was up to over 300 plus cars, 400 cars. So it isn't like when I started my YouTube channel, all of a sudden I was buying a ton of cars. I've been doing this for the most part for the last 20 plus years, 30 years. And that's why I was bugged by others to bring a YouTube channel out to show others the antics of what I do. And that's what I do. But at the same time, I try to bring content. And one gentleman was commenting that, you know, if you were doing more like I just said, the off-road adventures. You know, yeah, I don't disagree. But, you know, it's incredible how many motorcycle videos I've done. And showing my daughter going down the road, us riding motorcycles. And that's gotten a lot of views, but it hasn't exploded the channel. I mean, I've shown videos of my daughter and I going down the road, kind of rolling down the road, getting down the road, the Mustangs, the Ram TRX, the Mopars, and it really hasn't brought that craziness of where everybody and their brother wants to sign up and watch my channel. Because then they're going to expect you to do that same thing. That's what I was saying last week, is the key to a YouTuber is you have to say the same thing day in, day out, do the same thing day in, day out. And that's what I'm just showing you, these other YouTubers, it's the same thing every day. They walk around and they look at the failures of others to entertain you, to tell you how you can be better than them. Is that the underlying message that they're trying to convey to you? As the Kirby truck sits back here, as the pool project sits back here, it's the projects of projects. Now the danger is, I have another opportunity maybe to do one more thing before the month's out. Do I do it? I don't know. And one thing that, as I get older in life, that I really do appreciate for me having the property to be able to still ride around a dirt bike. And this little monkey is so much fun because it's your riding skills as you get older start to change and your confidence level starts to change. And my good friend Don, he's wanting to ride the CB 650. I think he wants to ride the CBR 1000RR. I don't know, Don, I thought you said you wanted that. I'm going to tell you right now, could I ride up the road in this? I could. Could I be on this bike for maybe like 30, 40 minutes? I don't know. I don't know if I could, because your triceps, the way you're bent over in this bike, your triceps are going to be at such, it's your body position. My good friend Jack out there, who's a true motorcycle enthusiast his whole life, he's ridden this and he'll tell you straight up, no way. It's just too much. It's a race bike. So for a youthful person, I can kind of get that. I'll be very intrigued to see how my daughter likes this bike, because it's your body position. And what I always felt when I sat on this bike, even as a young kid, on the Suzuki GSXRs, I know there's other brands out there. One of my subscribers, I believe Metallica, he's saying, you should have bought like the Yamaha or the Suzuki. And you know what? I would love to buy those, but I don't have the financial relationship that I have with Honda. So Honda basically gives me anything I want. So Honda is actually American Honda Finance, which is an automotive finance side that carries the Honda motorcycles as well. And the only reason I have all these Hondas is because Honda likes me and I can get whatever I want. That's a danger. Now with Yamaha, nope. With Kawasaki, Suzuki, Polaris, KTM, no, I will not get a loan. They look at my credit and they see how much debt I have and they won't do the deal. So that's the reason I buy all these Hondas. That's the reason I have a relationship, and I like the Timbuk Honda. I like who works there, and they support me, and I like the Honda product. Hondas typically are good stuff, and we go to sell them. Typically, you can get, respectable money for them. It's a recognized brand. So yeah, I hear you loud and clear, but at the same time, yeah, I'm just like the Harley Davidsons. I've been with Harley Financial so long. They've given me some loans. It's been challenging here and there, but it's all about the relationship in with these different manufacturers that I am able to get things done. Otherwise, it just doesn't. Carvana gave me this car because I've got repeat business with them. That's the third Carvana purchase, and they approved the deal. But technically, other people wouldn't approve that deal. So there's a lot of variables that play into me being able to pull off these deals, and it's a double-edged sword because in so many ways they shouldn't have approved the deal, because it's just another financial obligation that's hanging over my head that I have to commit to make it all work. And so others reach out on the channel and say you should go into more depth about the financing, the cash down, the interest rates, and there's two sides of the equation, because some of these vehicles are in my company name and then other vehicles are in my personal name. So it's rated differently. My company name, it has a higher business rating, so I get better rates when I buy something in my company name. My personal side, my credit score is the 600, basically 600 range, And so that's more challenging because these banks go off of tiers, and then so I have a higher rate on buying something because of my credit score, because of the debt that I have. And then the gentleman's like, well, how much money are you putting down? Well, for me, it just depends what the deal is, but it's not a lot. I mean, it can be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, just depends what it is. But you have to be very careful because all of a sudden you buy 30 vehicles, you buy 30 plus vehicles in 1 year, and you're putting down 10 grand in each one. That's $300,000. I don't make that type of money. I really don't. I mean, I'm your typical guy that as he makes more money, he just adds more debt. That's the number one thing that goes on in life, and that's the challenge. You witness it with your friends, your family, business owners. The more money they make, the more things they start to buy. Now, there's some people that are incredibly disciplined that don't do that, and so sure. And so, if I had the personality that I was so disciplined, like my other people I know in my life, yeah, then there would be no YouTube channel. You wouldn't know the Iceman because I would have all my money hoarded in a bank account, and I would just hoard the money. And I think once you get so much money that you just become so controlling of it that you're scared to let any of it go, and you just basically, you're content to be at your house and cut your grass and do the weed whacking and take your walks and take a nice little trip, and you're just very content to that's your life. But that's not who I am. I want to go out and explore. I want to ride different things. So for me, I have within hand's reach all these different rides that in my lifetime, one day when I perish, I can honestly say, my daughter could say, or whoever, that yeah, my father, he had probably more cars and more motorcycles than anybody per se, for the most part in the world. I don't think you're going to find many other people out there that can say they have bought 500, going on 600. I'm going to be at 600 vehicles in my lifetime. And so for me, all the different rides, all the different, everyone has a story. They all have their personalities, every one of these vehicles. And in the Bison, it's a cool truck, and I like it. And I think getting those retractable steps really made my life so much happier. I got to put the mud flaps on. I towed with it yesterday, and it did great. And that's where I say in my conversation is the argument is all about these ICE vehicles against the EV, against the green agendas. And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand. In fact, Jack at the dealership yesterday, we were talking about Tim Knuskis, because Tim Knuskis has stepped down from being the CEO of Jeep, Dodge, Ram. And there's YouTubers out there, believe it or not, that are just taking a whole video and that's all they're talking about. So they'll have like a 10-minute, 12-minute, 15-minute video that's all about Tim Knuskis leaving Dodge, Jeep, Ram. And so the pitch is that Jeep, Dodge, Ram is going to go bankrupt. And the reason Tim Knuskis is leaving is because they're going to go bankrupt, which is a bunch of malarkey. It's a bunch of lying, as usual. And I've talked about it numerous times. And some people say you're redundant in some of your conversations. But what you don't understand is there's people that watch my channel didn't watch it yesterday. So for those people that say, well, you kind of talked about the same thing. Yeah, but it's like, go to the news. I mean, not everybody watches my channel every day. So some of you may be watching my channel today that didn't hear this story before. And the story is, and most people don't know what's going on, Tim Knuskis has had his day. He's just moving on because the ice age is being taken away from him. That's my true beliefs. And that's what I was saying about arguments. If you're a CEO, look at this. If you watch my channel, I talk about the former CEO of Toyota, the grandson of Toyota, was the forced out of Toyota because he doesn't believe in the EV agenda. He doesn't believe in this green agenda. And Toyota is being sued by the green activists for the position that Toyota hasn't been so open arms for the EV green agenda. That's a fact. So he stepped down. Here's the point. You can't argue with the green agenda people. If you're a CEO of a major company, of GM, Ford, Stellantis, and you want to start arguing with these green agenda activists, you're going to be run out to the front door. You're going to be escorted out of your job. And so, yes, you will. I've talked about this in great length about the Green Agenda over there in Netherlands. They've got $1 billion organization. And like in Austin, Texas, on our own backyard, there's another like $1 billion conglomerate of monies that are funded for the Green Agenda activists. So if you want to argue with the Green Agenda activists in a meeting that show up at your office about what the future of how the cars are going to be energized, you've got an argument. And the odds are you're going to lose the argument, because then you get the stockholders, investors. So I talk about Jim Farley all the time. What did Jim Farley do? He created his own demise. He's the guy that was pounding his fist that they're going to go all electric. GM was pounding their fist, they're all electric, and wow. You just go now 2 years later, 3 years later, and they're all retracting now that the consumers aren't buying into the gig. They're arguing that we don't want this. We still want the gas engine. We want the hybrid setup. And so now, of course, from the arguments and from the people going to dealerships and not jumping all over every EV vehicle sitting in a lot, it's coming very apparent that the argument is that the EV age in this country isn't winning. The ICE age is still winning, which that's a great thing. And that's what I said many times in my channel. You go back a year or more ago, where is the ICE age $1 billion fund to go fend off all these frickin' wackos that are telling you how the future is going to be? Where is that? You know what? There isn't. There isn't anybody, because everybody's just going to sit idly by and not argue about it and just let it be another day. And that's our society today more than ever, is people just sit idly by and they watch the demise of things that go around us and they don't do anything. It's not my problem. It ain't my problem. And it turns into an argument. I mean, the political side is the worst. You have people on Facebook that post how great everything is because of a guy in office. Then you'll have somebody else post that how lousy everything is because the guy in the office. And it turns into an argument because there's one guy in power. And then what's the argument in New York City day in, day out? A guy sitting in court arguing with he can't even argue. I mean, if you think that through, it's then people arguing amongst themselves of what they feel is right versus wrong. What a waste of frickin' time. Just beyond believable. Just beyond believable. But that's what people like. And I get it. That's what I've heard through my channel now numerous times in comments, is people like to look at the dire straits of things. They like the sex, the violence, the agony. But at the same time, I think people like to see winners. I think people like to see success. Those how-to videos of how to be better, how to eat better, exercise better. I mean, come on. Those are huge things. Somebody that can show you how to build things, do things. I mean, so learn things. So there's so much more out there in the positive note as well. So I wouldn't get too sucked up into thinking that everything has to be on the negative content to be successful as a YouTuber. That's not factual. It's all about creating content that intrigues others to feel like they're getting happiness, giggles, sadness, learning something, whatever it may be. Here's my wife. Today's the big day that she'll be walking across Harvard for her graduation for her master's degree, which is really cool. And so it's a big day up there for my wife and daughter and my mother-in-law as they all attend the big Harvard graduation ceremonies today. And who will be the speaker, I don't even know. My wife's very nervous. Yeah, she's a mess, I'm sure. My daughter's already texted me. Mom's been up all night long, She's just, because it's intimidating in so many ways. So, but quite the accomplishment of my wife, and that's who my wife is. My wife loves to learn and study and read, and she's happy as can be to read a book on a Sunday afternoon and just do that. She's happy as to be learning something behind a computer and be there all day. That's who she is. She's totally opposite. They say opposites attract, and I can honestly tell you that's the story of my life, because my wife is not a car person. My wife's not into all this other stuff. So, but the good news is she's very happy on what she likes to do, and for me, I'm very fortunate that I get to do what I get to do, because anybody out there that's married knows, very fine line of being married and divorced. Yeah. You don't think that hasn't been brought up? You don't think the arguments haven't been in my life? I mean, oh my gosh, I mean, arguments I've gone through. I mean, everybody knows arguing. You know, you argue with your employer, you argue with your spouse, you argue with a customer, you go to a car dealership and you argue about what the price is supposed to be. Arguing is a common thing. That's just part of society. But when it goes to the social media side, it goes to the green agenda side, all of a sudden you're silenced. And then your views and ideas of what's being pushed in the colleges more than ever, the ideology. And then I've heard the stories from my YouTube subscribers. Their kid went off to school, came back, and their kid's a whole different person. And I hear these stories all the time, not just on my channel. I hear them all the time of the brainwashing, and then it turns into an argument. It turns into an argument that your child has gone off to school, comes back, and then they look at you like you're the problem because they've been taught in school the capitalism and blah, blah, blah. It gets heavy and deep, the rabbit hole. Hey, going down there, how's my spraying my grass? That is so much work. That is so much work. I walk around with a little sprayer, and years ago, I've got the tanks to put in the back of the ATV or the Gator, and you can drive around with a 25-gallon tank, but you still got to jump in and out of the damn vehicle to do it, per se. Yeah, I mean, you can't drive around the gardens spraying, so you're still walking in so many ways. So for me, I just get basically a 4-gallon tank and hand pump it and just spray away and get my exercise and walk around. And that's our whole argument in today's society is, you know, what's going on, the obesity. I mean, there's so many things going on in today's society that just seem to be in so many ways beyond believable. I mean, if you really think where we are in today's country, what's the number one business in the country? It's healthcare. What's the number one concern? Is people's well-being. But yet, in our country, it's at the most obese health issues in modern times, ever. And what from? I associate it with the computer. Because the computer relies you to sit behind a screen all day, and if you're not very motivated, and you don't get out of your seat and go walk around the neighborhood or exercise, then you're not in good health. I mean, I know friends, I know people that are of my age, and they have major health issues because they sat behind a computer all their life. Yeah, I mean, everybody has challenges in the job profession that you do that you end up, something comes from the task or the work that you do. I go to Costco and I see people that I've been there going 20 plus years, and I see them with their Band-Aids on their arms or their feet, their legs. I mean, they have all this from standing up all day long and pushing items through a scanner has just taken a toll on their body. I have friends that are mechanics that no longer can turn wrenches because their shoulders are destroyed, their knees are destroyed, their hands, their hips. I mean, it's huge. I mean, who doesn't know these stories? And that's where it goes to an argument in life if you pursue one adventure versus another. An argument close to home is if you don't go to college, then you're going to be challenged. You're not going to do well in life. And I think it depends. It comes down to if you really want a degree in a certain trade, I agree with that. But if you're just a very task-oriented and a person that's a go-getter, then I think that you'll prevail. I mean, I don't think you have to go to college to be successful per se. I don't think it's not here to say college isn't good. I think it's good. I think online college in some ways is probably better because you're not having to be in the environment where you're being sucked into the ideology and all the craziness that's going on in the colleges today more than ever. All right, that's pretty much it. So 2023 Honda CBR 1000 RR, 23 leftover, ABS brakes, and the only reason I bought it, like I said yesterday, is because it's a leftover. They gave me a really good deal on it. If it wasn't a leftover, I wouldn't have bought it. I'd be like, nah, we'll just sit it out. And the whole idea is this is going to be Julia's early birthday present. That's what this is. This isn't for me. And that's why when you're walking around my driveway, it wasn't for me having a daughter in my life. I mean, I'm not embellishing. There wouldn't be 2 Vapor Blue Mustangs. There wouldn't be a Ram truck sitting in the back. probably wouldn't be that custom F-250. There wouldn't be the F-450 two-door truck hiding back there between all my other vehicles. So that wouldn't be here. I wouldn't own that. You go over here to the Bronco. I'm a Bronco guy, but I bought that more for the business. So that's debatable. So there's a good 3-4 vehicles here that wouldn't be here. The Camaro Z28, my kid bugged me for years on wanting to get an older generation Camaro. So for the record, that wouldn't be here. You go to the Breakout. My daughter was really pushing for one of those. I kind of always wanted one, but I'd have to say the odds are it wouldn't be here. You go back here, and a Lowrider ST, that wouldn't be here. You go into the trailers, there's a CB 650R, that wouldn't be here. There's a KTM 150 dirt bike, that wouldn't be here. So there's a lot of these vehicles that are also part of my daughter's life that, yeah, will she have all this when she gets older? I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know. I'm not a rich ass guy. You guys think I am? I'm not. I live it to the last second. You go over to the house. I bought the Jeep Grand Cherokee for my wife. I bought the Jeep Grand Wagoneer for my wife. So you can start adding up. Quite a lot of vehicles here aren't really for me. And then I got the business side, which I get to take tax write-offs for business use, and which I do drive 150, 200 miles every day of my life for the most part. So there's incentives for me to have some of these vehicles because it gives me tax deductions to offset the monies I make. That's a whole other gambit that most don't even understand. There's a reason I have a lot of trucks. Trucks are tax write-offs. Cars, very challenging. You got to have GVW weights. People don't understand that stuff. There's a lot more going on than most understand to argue about my lifestyle, but whatever. And that's just, there you go. So I'm gonna leave it at that. It's another long ass video. And of course, the FedEx guy comes by again, and he's supposed to come by again today. Even though I spent, that's what you were feeling yesterday morning, I spent on Tuesday afternoon, I said 10 minutes. I bet you I spent 20 or 30 minutes. The guy probably showed up when I was arguing with the voice prompts of the FedEx. Yeah, does anybody get aggravated with that? All in, and you can't get to a real person, and you're going to push all these voice prompts, and it asks you to say what you're saying, doesn't understand you. I was going nuts, but I requested the stuff to be dropped off at the Leesburg FedEx store, where I can just go there when I have the time to pick this stuff up. I don't think they still figured that out. I think the guy's going to show up for a third time today. All right, as always, appreciate all the people who do watch my channel. I talk a lot. I know that. I get it. And with a glimmer of hope, the channel will continue to grow and make me monies to make it worth my while talking to everybody. And hopefully it gets bigger and better. I say it all the time. If the freaking channel would make some serious money, would I get creative and start having the raffle for a vehicle? I would. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I'm not attached to all this damn stuff. I said, heck yeah. But no, I mean, I'm not Cletus McFarland. I don't make $1 million a month. I don't make $100,000 a month. If I made that type of money on YouTube, oh my gosh. Yeah, would I then break away from what I do and have an escape and go do things? Of course I would. But it's all about the money factor, right? So that's it. Everybody, thanks for watching. God bless. Have a great day.